Somebody forgot to
Oh no!
Wow! I don't feel alone. I don't feel alone in this. I am not.
No, you shouldn't. You really should not.
Well,
Julie.
The mad hustle I just did trying to find this, and then I dropped it. And then
that's what happens when you're not on the podcast frequently, David.
I
you forget how to do the podcast.
I'm about to say, that's not always accurate because I am on the podcast frequently, and I forgot yesterday. I was like, oh
yeah. Anyway. Hello, and welcome to the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. Say something gay. Gay. I am just drinking some blood orange and grapefruit caffeinated beverages this morning. There's only one. I don't know why I said beverages. Because it's morning. I'm getting used to morning podcasts now. I still don't like them, but I'm getting used to them.
Sure. Hello, hi. What's up going on? I am Lana, your resident evil diva. I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I don't know what is going on with this right here. Anyway, I am currently doing I got strawberry sun kiss #1 and some water #2 because why not? Just trying to stay hydrated, people. And then I needed the caffeine so I could fully wake up and be a human this morning. Well, this afternoon. So there's that. But right now, my beautiful multifunctional cup mug, which is now my cup holder, and look at that.
Look at us using it as holder.
Channel full of cup mugs.
This is probably horrible for the audio. Yeah.
It's great. And you know what? You can get your cup mug and use it as a cup holder for your remotes and pens and things, or medicines or whatever. Or you can actually drink out of it like some of us sometimes do. But you can get that at LanaG'sCreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. You can get your cup mug or any of our cup merch. And we do ship domestically in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And we are back to shipping internationally, so there are no excuses. I figured it out, people. And guess what? We already got an international order. It will be coming your way soon, period.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I don't have a cute intro, but I do have a cute shirt. I decided to wear my Aquaria shirt. There she is. Yes. And I'm just drinking some water, as usual.
Woo.
Well, hello, guys. It's KaMorian, a.k.a. Sparking LA, your favorite Black queer content creator. And I'm so glad to be here for the start of All Stars Night, and I have some Powerade. You know, I came waking up very exhausted, so some Powerade to kind of wake me up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing this at an early time on a weekend day because All Stars Night. Guess what? We're dropping this on Friday also, and I'm like, great, cool, love it, thanks, appreciate it. But we are here. It is the start of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 9. It is here. It is happening. And we are splitting up our coverage just to make things a little bit easier and a little bit there's a lot more content for you. So this episode is going to be our episode recap for the first episode of the season. We also, if you missed our discussion about the entrance looks for the season, go check that video out because we're not talking about the entrance looks here because we already did it on the channel.
Look over there.
Look over there. Up there. We'll up there. Wrong way, KaMorian, but I appreciate yep, there you go. It's always the opposite of what you think it is. But we already talked about the entrance looks. Go check those out. This is going to be our episode recap. We are also going to have a supplementary episode of our new secondary series.
Look over here.
Where we dive exclusively into the looks from this episode. So make sure to check that out. We're also going to be doing episode 2 as a completely separate thing. So 4 episodes in one weekend because I don't really know why. It just felt easier in the moment. So that's what we decided to do. So we're doing that. Before we dive into this first episode, though, make sure to subscribe if you've not already, because we are here almost all the time, giving you almost all things drag. And currently, it's just All Stars. So, yeah, it's all things All Stars. That's all. Stars. We've got 3 other channels as well. So make sure to check out the description below to find all of our other YouTube channels, our audio podcast links, and our membership channel links down there as well. So this premiere was interesting, peculiar. No one goes home. And we got the introduction of the beautiful benefactress badge. It's giving very Flag Factory, which I am a big fan of. But overall, what did we think of this premiere, y'all?
I loved the premiere, actually. I watched it this morning, and I was very entertained by it. I was like, okay. I like the format. I like the non-elimination of it all. And I like that we get 2 people getting badges every week, and then somebody getting the actual money for their charity. I thought it was a good, I like this concept. We're going to get to know these queens. If you don't know them like me, I don't know any of them. So I was like, cool, I get a chance to know who they are, learn their drag.
And a full season with them too.
And a whole season, right. It's not like somebody's going to go home each week. So I was like, oh, I don't really know this person. I get to know who they are, know their drag. And it was interesting. I'm actually enjoying this season. And I think the girls are good. I like them all. I really do enjoy what they gave in these first 2 episodes. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it too. This is an interesting season because like none of the all-stars that they brought back are like my top tier favorites. Like I like a lot of them, but none of them do I just like absolutely love. So they're all kind of on an even playing field to varying degrees. So I'm already starting to like people more than I remembered liking them. And then some people I'm like, I'm a little disappointed in what you're bringing so far. So I'm very intrigued to see how the remaining 10 episodes are going to go.
I want you to elaborate on that later, David, because I'm interested to hear who you're impressed by and who you're not. But KaMorian, what are you thinking, darling?
I mean, I would say that I really enjoyed this premiere of All Stars at the gate. They're all coming out very strong. I'd say it's probably like it's gonna be a good competitive season. Like the girls are already getting it in the first 2 episodes. Majority of the cast. I actually, I watched it during like me actually like getting into Drag Race at an age because actually for that the first time I ever saw a Drag Race episode that I didn't know. I was like 7 or 8. I remember it was season 3, the finale. It was like new to me. Yeah. No, the lady, I remember they were playing it on the actual day of my birthday, the same year that Barack Obama got back into a Drag Race Day to the White House. So iconic. So yeah, so like majority of queens from like 11 to like 14, I know, and I know like Roxy from All Stars too. So to see majority of queens that I knew, like being like involved with Drag Race now, I'm very excited for these queens. So it's gonna be. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this cast.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm excited for specifically. I'm excited for so many of the girls on this cast, but for me, I'm most excited, I think, honestly, for Chanel and Roxy because it's been so long since they've been on Drag Race, and especially Chanel. I think it's been 11 years since she was on last, and both of them now being 3-time competitors. I'm interested to see. It doesn't really seem like the dynamic is very different because there's been so much time, even so much time since Roxy was last on Drag Race. So it does kind of feel like everyone is on a bit of an even playing field going into this season. And I think this cast is overall a very well-rounded and very talented cast. There's one person already that I'm like, I don't know that maybe you should have come back this soon. There's one person. I'm happy she's there. I'm thrilled she's there. But I think Georges could have baked a little bit longer. I gotta be honest. I think Georges could have been in the real world a little bit more, gotten a little bit more experience before coming back. But that's just me personally. But I do enjoy Georges. So, like we said, we already talked about the entrances. I do want to talk about Vanjie trying to sabotage everyone with her.
No, they're not doing it. No. Her jacket was not sabotaging everybody. Everybody else just didn't know what they were doing around that jacket. Her jacket was fabulous. Her jacket was just doing what jackets do and shredding when it was supposed. Look, I'm not being.
Oh, I didn't notice this.
I was literally about to say, didn't you give her a 10?
Relax, Logan. I'm not. I'm not.
A 10 sounds like a good score.
I mean, no.
Until you realize it's out of 100.
I did like her jacket, though. I didn't like the look. I thought the jacket, and then coming to find out that the jacket was all hairpins or bobby pins, yeah. I was like, that even makes me like it a little bit more. And the fact, I'm like, she wasn't sabotaging everybody. They just didn't know how to handle it being around a bunch of bobby pins. Dude. You just got to be careful. Just watch out.
Well, it's not anybody else's fault that bobby pins are falling off the damn jacket as she walks. Flying off.
I mean, be careful around bobby pins. If you've been around bobby pins, you know better. Bobby pins will fly at any random time. You just don't know.
Gotcha.
I would have thought bobby jacket and been like, okay, girl.
For 2 minutes here, I'm like, wait, how did she sabotage? And I'm just trying to like pick up on context clues.
All the bobby pins flying off the damn jacket.
Yeah, eventually.
That's what I'm like.
I did love.
I think we should change the word from sabotage because I don't think she was sabotaging people. I think she was setting up people. Like she was like making sure it was her defense mechanism, like a porcupine. Don't come by me, or you go get
Vanjie is the porcupine of this season.
She's like, don't come by me, or
Miss
you
Porcupine, Miss Porcupine. No, I did love when the when one of them flew off and hit Roxy, and she was just like, "Ow!"
It didn't even hit Roxy. It flew towards Roxy, and Roxy's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Girl, stop!"
I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it so much.
It's so funny.
But yes, all the girls walk in. Ru walks in, looking. I love this suit.
Sure.
Like Ru in both of these episodes look pretty damn good. So I was fine with it. We find out the full format of the season, like we already kind of talked about. It is the top 2 format. We're basically copying and pasting the format from the All Winners season into a fresh All-Star season, which I think is, I'm already really enjoying it for people that are not winners and that are just on All-Stars. We find out that the winner of the season will receive $200,000 for the charity of her choice. I love that we got all of the rundowns throughout the episode of the charities everyone's playing for. And we talked about those as well in the cast assessment. And I believe we talked about it a little bit in the entrance look video as well. But we get that. It's top 2 every week. They lip sync for $10,000 for their charity. And they get the power to cut off one of their fellow competitors with the ruby snippers. Now, I don't know about y'all, but every time RuPaul said snippers in this episode, I heard slippers come out of her mouth.
Oh, no, I didn't. I heard snippers and I was like, that is so clever and significantly better than the platinum plunger.
I love the platinum plunger. I think it was adorable, but I think the ruby snippers, I think it's very... So that's what it was on All-Star 7, Lana, it was literally a plunger.
That was not platinum.
It was not platinum. It was bronze at best. I do love now that Set Her Aside was like, do I have to bring giant scissors to DragCon this year?
Yes.
Good luck with TSA.
Like, yes, Cetera. Yeah, I was like, good luck, Cetera. And
in your bag, girl. They won't. It's okay if it's in your bag, as long as you don't try to carry it on the plane.
If they try to completely recreate it, like that's huge. Like I don't know if I could fit it in a bag, but
a garment bag, maybe.
Oh, you're right. You know, when you're right,
make it work. You make it work.
And Lana, when women.
Because we be thinking about this. How can I carry the most on a trip without looking like I'm carrying the most, baby?
Well, Roxy is an expert at this.
Period.
I want to talk about that in a second. We do get the reading challenge though, which they cut to commercial and it was like, we're gonna ramp up the stuff, and I was like, oh, are they not gonna do the reading challenge? Is it gonna be? No, it's just the reading challenge.
Is the reading challenge usually first in All-Star? Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty typical episode 1, except for last season of All-Stars.
Okay.
Because they
All-Stars 8 is like the outlier when it comes to all the All-Star seasons. Like typically it's reading challenge episode 1, and then the format is pretty similar throughout the season. So but I have to say, for me at least, this was one of my favorite reading challenges in a hot minute. Everyone made me laugh here. And I know David's probably going to disagree because it's difficult to make him laugh. But what were some of our favorite reads?
Okay, well, I want to go first because this was very interesting for me. I think this is the first time where instead of who had the best reads for me, it was which of the 8 had the best reads towards them. And there's one person who got 3 of my top 4 favorite reads against them.
Oh.
I wonder if any of you can guess.
Is Vanjie?
It was not.
Angeria.
Oh wait,
no.
Was it? I think it was Gottmik.
It was Gottmik.
Because with the Chanel, with the
oh my god.
Good. Yeah. The first one that started off that was Angeria saying Gottmik, when it comes to talent, you ain't got much.
that was funny.
So funny.
No. My favorite read was actually Gottmik. Miss Vanjie is the only person I know that can outdrink me. Her liver is so black and shriveled. She's 15 face tapes away from hosting Drag Race.
I didn't find that funny.
Oh, really?
I laughed, but I'm not gonna lie. I was laughing, but I still didn't get what she meant, but it was still funny though.
I was like, the nerve, the cheek, the gall, the audacity, and the gumption to say that right in front of RuPaul.
I didn't find it funny, and I found it disrespectful, and I found it a little bit.
I was a little bit in Lana's boat.
Oh, no, I didn't think that at all.
I mean,
he was like, I'm surprised they aired that.
Right, because I'm like, you gonna say somebody is black and shriveled, and then they deserve, and they 15 shades away from hosting the Drag Race when RuPaul standing there being black and an older person. Like, I found that very offensive. I was like,
oh, okay, I did not get that at all.
Yeah, I got it. I was like, I'm not a fan of that.
For me, I definitely see where you're coming from with that. I also, RuPaul was dying laughing.
Yeah, so, but see, RuPaul always does that kind of stuff. RuPaul will love to gloss over racial humor, and I'm like, that's one thing I don't like about RuPaul, because she always does that, and she never stands up for. Right? She never stands up for Black queens or queers, or when something like that is being said. Like, she glosses over it all the time. So that's why RuPaul is never a metric system for me when it comes to Black queens and being offended by a racial joke. I found that so offensive, and I was like, and you will sit there and laugh at it, but whatever. Okay.
I get that for sure.
Was not a fan of that at all. I was like, oh.
Well, Julie.
I mean, but you feel free to laugh at it if you find it funny. Laugh at it.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And now I kind of feel bad for it, but it's fine.
Yeah, it did feel like the black part of her liver was like the key ingredient to it matching up with RuPaul, which was like why I was like, ooh, it's like one of those things, like, I get why it could be funny, but I was a little uncomfortable with it.
Valid.
But I do want to say another one. I think KaMorian, you kind of alluded to it earlier. The one where Chanel was like, Gottmik, I'm surprised to see you here because you always cancel your gigs.
Yep, that made me, I was like,
the way I screamed. Because it's so accurate, though, from what I know of Gottmik after Drag Race. Like, that tracks.
Which leads me to the next one where Roxy said, you have been, promoted to, you know, Violet Tosh's assistant. Here's the funny thing. I remember literally after Drag Race, like she's would have been with Violet Chachki pretty much her whole entire drag career after season 13. And like, let me tell you, like you can tell her drag has dramatically changed ever since she's been with Violet Chachki. And it is playing through.
And I have to be honest, I've not been the biggest fan of Mick since her season. I find her so refreshing in a Drag Race environment again. I'm like, this is why I fell in love with you on season 13. I'm like, thank God, because like, I'm like, thank you. You feel like a human again. And I feel a little bad saying that, but like, you feel like a human again instead of Violet Chachki's assistant. But sorry, Lana, what were you gonna say?
No, I felt like the read that Mick got was very personal, and it was like not disrespectful, but very personal. Like, girl, you being Violet's assistant. Girl, you cancel gigs on a regular basis. Like, they were going at her, and I agree with you, David. She got the most roasted, and it was so funny but it was not in a disrespectful way. It was just like, okay. And honestly, I think it was kind of in a helpful way, because it was like, girl, stop canceling gigs all the time. If you go set these gigs, do it. Girl, stop being her assistant and be your own person, because we sick of you being under her when you can be yourself. Like, I think it was helpful digs, but they were funny. And if they make her think about it, like, then great. It's good. I thought they were funny.
Yeah, it's very interesting because Gottmik is somebody I'm not crazy about. And one thing that she does is, like, she did it on season 13 and she's done it like post Drag Race, but she tends to gravitate towards a big personality who is kind of, to a degree, a mean girl. And she just becomes their chihuahua and just adapts their personality. It was Candy in season 13. Yeah. And then it's been Violet Chachki. And now she's really gravitating towards Vanjie. So I'm interested to see if she can really keep her own personality, or if she's just going to become like a mini-me for Vanjie. And I hope not. She hasn't really done that so far. And she's one of the people I was talking about that I'm actually liking her much more than I expected. I thought she had 2 very good episodes.
There's a moment in the episode 2 Untucked about Mick, and I'm gonna write it down and I'm gonna remember it when we talk about it, that makes me think that, she's not necessarily gonna be that for Vanjie this season. Because there's a moment, I don't know if any of you watched Untucked. There's not a whole lot that went on, honestly. But within all of that and all of the reads and all of everything, the winner of the reading challenge ends up being Roxy Andrews, which I thought
she did.
Yeah,
she did. What was the last read she did? It cracked me up.
Yeah, it was funny.
I didn't write it down because I was too busy laughing.
Oh, it was like Vanjie's like, I'm so surprised that you're here, right? And I know you're surprised that you're here based on what you're wearing.
So yeah. He's like, and obviously you didn't expect to be.
You didn't know either.
And then Vanjie broke the fourth wall. Like, look at the camera. Like, look at the camera, and then she's like, "Square up, like, what's good?"
I love it too. I love it too that a lot of these girls have a lot of history as well. Like Roxy and Vanjie have a lot of history, because they're both from Tampa, so they've performed a lot probably before Vanjie got on Drag Race.
Well, Roxy's from Orlando.
Well, but she also performs all around. Like, they have history, is what I'm saying.
Actually, one of their press videos, I think they were showing like their old like early drag photos, and they're just like in a pageant. And actually, Roxy was there hosting the pageant where she was performing. So, and like they're very close. Like she knows how good Vanjie is, what she does.
Yeah. I also didn't realize, because I watched that same video, KaMorian, I didn't realize Vanjie had only been doing drag for like 1.5 years prior to getting on season 10.
She really did have the Shangela trajectory. Let's hope it stays better than Shangela. But yes, so our maxi challenge for the premiere episode is the girl group, Sure, the Rumix, Drag Queens Save the World. They're choreographing themselves, they're writing lyrics, they're doing all the lovely, wonderful, and fantastic things. And almost immediately we get a very
a very emotional conversation about just like the state of the world and like the impact that that drag queens are having right now in the world. Obviously Roxy still lives in Florida, so she talks a lot about everything going on in Florida. Nina's from Ohio, so she's talking about like she brings up a very emotional story about her drag mom getting targeted at a drag show, which is wild to me. But I was like, I'm thankful that we're having this conversation because it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Definitely agree, especially for Roxy and someone who lives in Florida, who is also just witnessing how the government is treating queer people, not only as queer people, but people of color and minorities in general. So it was really fresh to see how that conversation and like, you know, work must be done. You know, definitely for me, like I always grew up with my parents telling me, you know, make sure you go out and vote. Like even my mom would take me to go like see her vote and even be involved in politics. So I really use that as like gear to like, especially like now I'm at the age to actually, you know, like going into this, it's like my first ever, you know, major national election I'm like being part of. So yeah. I'm definitely taking keen notes of what's going on in the world. It definitely helps to like, you know, that choice when it's time to vote that I'm making the right choice at the end of the day.
Good.
Absolutely. It's so important to let your voice be heard, because if you don't, even if you don't agree with everybody who gets elected or whatever, at least you can say, I was part of the solution. I've tried my best to make sure that the people who are going to protect my rights, or who what I feel is important in my life, and then the people around me who I care about, because that's a whole nother thing. We can't just go in the voting booth and only vote for our own concern, our own interest in life, because what might be good for me is just, this is just enough for me. But I don't think about this other politician who might not be good for somebody else who I care about. Like, I might think that this politician is good and this politician is fine because they do the things that I want. But then when it comes to like other local people, I don't think about the rights of my friends and my family who might not have the same issues as me. So I have to think all around who's going to benefit, not just me, but everybody who I care about. And so you have to let your voice be heard, even if you don't agree with the people. Sorry about the people cutting the grass, but even if you don't agree with all of the candidates, find that candidate that you agree the most with, at least the most with, who is going to benefit you and the people you love the most. But don't just not vote, because not voting is just letting the person in that you don't want to see in office. So please, 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 y'all, if you are able to vote, register to vote. If you haven't registered,
there's links in our description as well.
We'll put the links in the description. But if you haven't been registered to vote, go register to vote. If you are registered to vote, please go vote. Please go vote. This is a very important time in our history, and we need every voice to matter.
And not only is it a national, but there's a lot of local and state stuff going on as well. And that's going to, in a lot of ways, more directly impact specifically where you live. So if you want to make a change, make sure you're not just voting at the top, you're voting down your ballot, because it is important to, it's like Lana said, we're at a very pivotal time right now. So.
And don't just wait till November on presidential election.
Right.
Because there's lots of other smaller elections.
I literally just voted in a local election like 2 weeks ago because we had one in Arizona. I was like, okay, work. Like, what a lovely conversation about voting. I love it. Let's talk about how Georges can't choreograph.
I mean,
she can. But Georges is in a world of her own where she is a great dancer, but she's just not a great choreographer. And so when they go to do the choreography, she can't do the 5, 6, 7, 8 in the way that the other girls do.
What the other girls need. They need her to do the 5, 6, 7, 8. When George is like, just watch me and do what I do. 1, and they're like, where's the 5, 6, 7, 8? 5, 6,
wildly, Lana, you did that choreography better than Chanel did.
And you didn't fall backwards.
I didn't fall off the stage.
And I love that the girls were literally like, well, this is the moment that they're going to slow-mo. And then they did. They're like, ooh. It's like, can we not break Chanel, please?
Which I wish I had the foresight that they were going to slow-mo it, because I rewound it. I'm like, I have to watch that again. And then they showed it. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm watching it a third time.
I guess I'm watching it a third time. Werk. Thankfully, Vanjie was able to step in a little bit, and I think the duo of them choreographing, where Vanjie was kind of Lana, I don't know about you, but it felt very Amazing Race with Derek and Shalissa.
Yes, absolutely. It was like, okay, y'all, you learn it, and then you teach me, so I can teach them.
Georges was Vanjie was learning it from Georges, and then everyone else was learning it from Vanjie, who learned it from George. It was like, come on now. But we go into the workroom the next day, and it's seemingly going to be a disaster, and then it didn't turn out to be a disaster. Because that's always how it goes with these shows. The getting ready for the runway, it was kind of just a conversation of, well, who are we cutting off?
Right.
I
knew it wasn't going to be a disaster when they got into the workroom the next day, and they were like, and I think it was Roxy was like, "Oh, we got to go practice. We just going right in the face.
I'm gonna run it." Yeah.
And they were like, "I mean, we got it." And Vanjie was like, "If you ain't got it by now, you ain't never go get it." And it was just like, you know. And when this is when I knew it wasn't gonna be a disaster. When they started work, I think it was Roxy and Nina
and Chanel, I believe.
And they ran it.
Conveniently, the old school divas were the ones that we're gonna run the group routine again really quick.
Because they were like, this is what we do. And when they ran it, they kind of did it and they got it right. They're like, okay, we're good. I was like, oh no, they got it. Because if these three got it, everybody else got it.
Two of them got it.
Well.
I love Chanel, but I'm gonna give her shit later.
I do want to talk a little bit. So they were talking about who to block. Everybody had their own little strategies.
Cut off, David. It's a different terminology this season.
Cut off, to snip. To circumcise. I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
Someone literally made a circumcision joke in one of the Untucks. I don't remember which one it was,
really?
But definitely happened. Yeah.
But I'm curious what you all think is the best strategy here. Because for me, I think that each week I wouldn't necessarily think about like, oh, who's good at what I'm not good at. I would think who's good at what I am good at and is going to give me a run for my money and might block me out of being the top 2 when I could be third. I would be trying to cut that person. And like, if I'm good at like performance and not good at comedy, I'm like, okay, Nina, you do you.
Right. I think I definitely get that. I think for me personally, I would kind of go with what a lot of the girls were saying is like potentially trying to like, oh, these girls know the game that is Drag Race at this point. You know what kinds of things are coming. And we see that more in episode 2 with who gets cut off. But I would kind of maybe try to anticipate what's coming next based on what we've already done. And be like, okay, well, if we just did a performance challenge, next week is probably either a design challenge or a comedy challenge. I need to try to factor in, or someone like we saw in this episode, who is just good at everything. Like, who is maybe the most well-rounded person, and maybe just cut them off. But I do really like your strategy, David, of like, who is going to potentially knock me out of a top 2 spot. I like that.
And there's another strategy I thought of as well, and it's, who am I going to be safest from ever getting snipped by? And that would be somebody who you don't think is going to do well in challenges, or you don't think is going to win the lip syncs.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see that.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like taking from every angles, everything that you all have said in like your review, like anticipate the challenges, maybe like go for like an all around threat, or I think just take every possibility that you can, but also want to make them like connections as well, because you know, and it comes time to play is the person you block is in top 2, then you know if you want to not get blocked, you got to find some kind of. I think it's you got to use every type of strategy in this far as like this process of blocking people.
Yeah, I think with this, with the first 2 episodes, you're trying to feel your way through, and I think it's like, I think the first episode is like, who is all around? Who is somebody who I feel like can do it all? Because we don't know what's coming next, but we can assume what's coming next. But this person has to be somebody who is all around good, and then I'll take them out. Now, the second episode, I feel like you need to start thinking about what you said, KaMorian, figuring out who is safe, like who is somebody who won't block you. Start building some alliances and start getting that people who were like.
And I'm excited to talk about that in episode 2 because we kind of are seeing that form, and it's a very interesting thing.
I mean, it's like, if I got you, I won't block you, you won't block me. You get a core group of people, maybe 2 or 3 people in your corner that y'all like, look, we won't block each other. And it don't matter if you get a badge or not. I'm not blocking you, and you're not blocking me. We can go after these other girls who, whatever. I think that's the strategy part of this game that is going to have to be played out. You have to start using your social connections with people, and then, like you said, David, blocking people who might knock you out of the top spot. I think all of the scenarios that you all said needs to be combined into one big scenario. And that's how you play this game. Because you have to think about who can take you out, and you have to think about who will never take you out.
Yep.
It's RuPaul's social strategy race.
Right.
Absolutely. And then basically like every All-Stars premiere episode, think about it, like especially when it comes to like eliminations, like who to block, that first ever elimination of blocking, it sets the tone of the season going forward, how it's going to play out.
And to that exact point, and it did, and to that exact point, KaMorian, both times we've seen this format happen, arguably the most well-rounded queen on those casts were the first person who was blocked or cut off. So I find it very interesting that we're seeing that now on 2 different seasons.
Yeah. And it is interesting because in the first season we saw this, which was all winners, the Twinners had the strategy to find the girls that were really good at things, and let's make it a big alliance, the 4 of us. And the people they tried to recruit who were not hip to play the game, like the Twinners and those 2 people ended up being the top 4 of the season.
Literally, we're the top 4 of the season. So I mean, I guess it makes sense in that regard. But yeah, I'm interested to see how these girls are going to adapt to the social strategy race of it all that we're now kind of we're seeing. So
absolutely.
But
I think we're right there to it. I think we're there, Logan. Yeah.
Oh, I was already ahead of you. Don't worry.
I haven't heard this in a minute. Hey.
I know. I was like, oh, it's so refreshing to hear the intro music. And it was also so refreshing to see Keke Palmer on Drag Race. Yes.
Keke. That's my girl.
I love Miss Keke Palmer.
I mean, this is my childhood right here. I grew up with her my whole childhood.
KaMorian, same.
Like little baby to here now. Like that's my childhood. That's my girl, baby. She was the child star. Every franchise, every channel that she was on, you would see her face. Let me tell you, she was always booked and busy. And no matter how long a show was, you were seeing her on the next day. She was pretty much
still booked and busy. What do you mean? What do you mean always? And
it's still. Like, there's nothing she can't not do. She is multi-talented. And
I mean, she told her that. She told
when
her.
Ru called her a true Renaissance woman, I was like, "You're so correct."
Yeah. When she asked her, "Is there anything you can't do?" Keke told her the truth. No, there's nothing I can't do. I can do it all, baby, and she can. I love her.
Didn't she just put out music recently too? Again?
Yeah. Yeah,
like, I love her music. She is very she is so underrated. And
music
slaps. She has some bars,
Music slaps. Music's great. She got a baby. She's looking fabulous. She's still doing movies. She's still acting. She's doing her podcast. She's producing stuff. She has a production studio that she's running. Miss Keke Palmer can do it all. I
need to listen to her podcast.
Oh yeah. It's Keke, baby.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Like, I can tell, like,
cool sister.
What'd you say, David?
She has a pretty cool sister too.
And she does have a pretty cool sister.
The person
very winning sister.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
But,
and she looks good.
RuPaul looks good here.
Yes.
She does. I like this little feathery, fringy number she got going on here. Look, RuPaul is going to give us the shorts dresses this season. She's giving us the legs, and I'm here for it.
And she's also giving us performance.
Yeah, we got a performance out the deal. We got a whole thing. She's giving us legs. She's giving us great wigs. She's giving us body. I'm like, okay, see you.
Everyone online that was like, she looks like if Ice Spice started fracking. I was like, no.
Not the fracking.
No.
Nope.
Microwave it. Ooh, child. No.
Ooh.
Child. Lord have mercy.
No. Anyway, I think Michelle looks lovely. I don't like the length of this dress personally, but
no, we'll choose a shorter dress, honestly.
Cut like the little peplum.
Cut the peplum off.
Yeah, peplum.
Or bring the peplum up to the knee. Or something, I don't know. And this is like the fourth time Ross Matthews has worn this jacket on Drag Race, so whatever.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen
they all match well, though.
They do match.
It's a very coordinated effort, and then RuPaul.
I mean, which is supposed to be. RuPaul's supposed to be different from the host or whatever. But I do love this bodysuit on Kiki. Like it's fitting. Like the body is bodying on this.
For real.
The body is bodying on this bodysuit, and then these sleeves, so cool. Like it is the simplest thing, just to add the bedazzles and the jewels on the sleeve, and then that little bit on the pocket, because it's a simple bodysuit. But that just makes it look
her bodysuit.
But that just makes it look elevated and rich.
And then the top of hot with the mug, and then the nice little hair with the bangs and the pride.
The fierce bang.
Baby, like mind you, like she just recently had her baby, like recently, like her baby. So looking like this after having a baby, baby, go off.
She kind of looks like a cat burglar who just got back from stealing things and like
absolutely
all down my arms.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Too, you can see like the full body, and when she was walking, I was just like, "Bitch, how are you this gorgeous?"
She's gorgeous. She's insane.
It's so beautiful.
But she's
gorgeous. Beautiful. Yes. Okay.
Anyway,
she ate with that one.
She ate that one. Ate one down. She ate one down. Look, y'all, in Legendary. Oh, you ate that.
Oh, you ate that.
Oh, you ate that.
Law, you're just so tired.
Right.
And the fact that we got Law and Kiki on Drag Race in the same year.
I'm happy.
Come on,
Naomi.
Oh, that will be the day that I scream, cry, and
you gonna cream?
Apparently,
I might cream too.
You know, I also might. You know,
you might cream too. It's okay. It's all right.
It's
okay.
We're gonna move on.
I'm gonna say we gotta move
to some horrible photos. So okay, I had to pull these myself. So I'm sorry for the quality. This is the best I could get them, but. This is the first 4 of the looks for our All-Star Queens in the Drag Queen Save the World performance. We are going to talk a little bit more about the looks themselves.
Look over here.
But overall, I thought this was a pretty cute performance. I wasn't mad at the performance.
No, I liked the performance. I thought the performance was good. I thought everybody did well, and I wasn't mad at the performance at all.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty good overall. I do think for me, I had a pretty clear division between 5 that I thought did really well, and then 3 that were like, not quite there, not quite there.
I wonder if we have similar lists.
It might
in
be
that regard.
It might be, but yeah, I do think everybody performed well. It screamed George's as I was watching them all do those moves. I'm like, whoa, this is everybody just doing George's choreography for sure.
But where was punching the ghost? I was like, there's no punching the ghost.
Yeah.
I wanted punching the ghost.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Everyone was really bringing their A game. I think everyone at least had a moment to shine and really showcase their abilities and just have a moment to like kind of just like have the moment being shown. Like they all did a very good job. It was clean, it was crisp, it was beautiful. I enjoyed it, and the song is a bop.
Yeah. The song is a bop. I was like, this is cute. This is lovely. I have to say, of the 4 divas we have on screen right now, which are Roxy, Vanjie, or as I might just start calling her this season, Vanessa, because I forgot her name was Vanessa Vanjie, because I'm just so used to calling her Vanjie. And I'm like, oh no, your name is Vanessa. But no, Roxy, Vanjie, Nina, and Plastique. I think, honestly, the standout for me by far in this, at least this group, was Vanjie. I thought Vanjie absolutely, I gotta be honest, I think Vanjie should have been top 2. Oh, yeah. For this week.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the 2 best in the challenge were Angie and Vanjie.
Okay.
Like that's what it was for me. For honestly, very different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because I thought Vanjie ate up her choreography. Her solo moment was my favorite solo moment by far. I thought her verse was good. She actually knew the words to her verse this time, unlike season 11. It was all there. And this cute little leotard on her looked so good. I was like, come on, Vanjie. I was like, this is going to be Vanjie's first challenge win. Mm-hmm. And I wanted it for her so bad. She's the only girl in this cast that hasn't won a challenge before.
Yeah. And I think this wig worked so well in the performance. It seemed like such like human hair, and it was just like waving as she was like being dragged across the stage. I thought it was so cool. But I do want to give props to who I thought was the 3rd best overall. Not in the 2nd best in this group, and that was Plastique. She killed it. And I've never thought of Plastique as being like a standout performer, but she just like was mesmerizing in her performance, and I thought her verse was really good too. So absolutely deserved her spot in the top 4 this week.
Yeah,
absolutely. I thought Plastique and Vanjie were decent in this group. Absolutely, they stood out. Like I thought. I agree with you, Logan. I said Vanjie should have been in the top 2 to me over Georgia's, because I felt like her performance was better and I liked her verse better. But I felt like she literally owned the stage when she had her solo moment. It was like you couldn't take your eyes off of her. Like in some people's cases, I could look around and still, they were doing their solo verse, and I'm looking around to see what's happening on the stage. When it was her, I could not take my eyes off of her. And the same thing with Plastique. I agree with you, David. Plastique ate that up. Like the moment they carried her across that stage and she got down and she flipped her ponytail and bent down and gave us the back. And I was like, okay, she's performing. She's giving us body. She's giving us hair whip. She's giving us great stage presence. And her verse was good. Like, I remember their verses, and I'm like, and y'all know I don't remember nobody's verses after I watch it in and out for me. Yeah. But I remember her verse, and I remember how she started, and I remember Vanjie's verse. So I was like, they were the ones in this group that ate it up for me. Overall, that's Angie. Angie had a power. I agree with Michelle every step of the way. Absolutely. She had a power. When she first started out, that made me go, ooh. Yeah. It stopped me in my tracks and made me listen to what she had to say.
When the judges were like, it kind of powered down a little bit, and all of the focus was on her. I was like, I absolutely agree.
Absolutely agreed.
Her first line was something like, pay attention to me, I'm not the enemy.
I'm not the enemy. It was just like, ooh.
Like that hit hard.
It was just so good. It was like a moment to make you say, okay, wait a minute. Because if somebody was to walk up to you in a conversation or in a group and they're like, look, pay attention to me. I'm not the enemy. You're like, oh, so who's the enemy? Who? It was such a grabbing first line to make you say, okay, well, what do you have to say now? Now you got my attention. And she went with it. And the rest of her verse was so good and made you like, okay, made you think she was so good. And she looks amazing. Yeah. Out of this 4 group, I think they all look good. Mm-hmm. It's just something about Angie that just brings my eye right to her. But Georgia's, I thought, did a really good job. But like you said, Georgia's, she choreographed it. She should have done a good job. She should know how to do it. But I don't think she drew my attention like Vanjie did.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say I was a little disappointed by George's verse. Like, I don't remember it. And I like, for me, I honestly think the two weakest verses might have been George's and Chanel. I thought Chanel overall, I love Chanel. Big fan of Chanel. This was not her challenge. This was not a challenge that I expected Chanel to excel in. Mm-hmm. And she was the only person to really drop choreo at any moment.
She was 8 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was 8 for me as well, but it was still a solid performance. Yeah. I thought her solo was good. Her verse was a little clunky, but this is not a challenge I absolutely expected Chanel to do great in.
I do want to say, so like Angeria, I thought she did really well. I might have to go rewatch because she wasn't in my top 2. She was actually my number 4. But the person who I was really impressed with in this and was not in the top 4 for the night was Gottmik. Yeah, she was in my top 2. I thought she did so well. I thought she was the person of all of them that didn't go for like kind of a conventional syncopation in how she was presenting her verse. Like, she really switched it up. And I thought it was like, it had some interesting musicality behind it. And I was pretty impressed with how she was performing too. Like, especially that like drop into the side. And I don't even know how to describe it, but I thought she killed it. And I couldn't believe she wasn't one of the top 4 of the night.
Back to the first group. I didn't get to the there, but definitely Vanjie, Plastique. Yeah, they're pretty much strong, as we said. But what I love about Vanjie, like, she's a firecracker. Like, for anything performance, she's gonna give it 100%. Definitely, what surprised me was Plastique. Because I know back at her scene, like, she was like, as you know, she's a house of Edwards. It's her godmother, so the performance, it has to be there. But I think they're seeing her confidence now compared to season 11. You can tell she's in her element now. Like, she knows her drag. Like, she's I think she's 100% herself now. Like, I can able to express myself and people will like just adore me. And to see her in that amazing outfit, the way with her hair, giving you body, giving you sexy, like, it was good. And then to the next group, and Jerry, like you said, like the way like all eyes are on her at that moment, like it was impactful, it was empowering. I think I like George's like was not like out for me, but I think she still did good. Like, I love the way George's moves. It's so fluid, it's so like at ease. The way she moves is so good, which I love. Yeah.
I want to touch on as well the two people that we didn't talk about, which are Roxy and Nina. I think Nina singing her verse, I think, was gorgeous and her voice sounded great. But Nina, we know, has a great voice. So, the performance was not all there. I wasn't paying attention to Nina in the group situation really ever. And I think the outfit is cute. Roxy, I love hers last. And she's coming in, she's like breaking out from the group. I thought she had a really nice fluidity to her performance. I thought her verse was cute. Overall, I think Roxy did very, very good in this.
Yeah, especially compared to like the last time we heard her create her own verse. I thought
is Roxy Andrews, and she's here to make it clear. Like, it was so much better than that.
And I'm sure she had a lot of pressure on her shoulders. So I'm surprised they didn't make that more of a storyline. I actually thought she was 6th best of the night, and I would have had Nina as 7th best. So yeah, those two and Chanel. Unfortunately, the older
ones that kind of fell out a little bit. Yeah, that surprised me too, because I agree with you, David. I think the 3 of them did well, but they would have been 6, 7, and 8 for me as well if I was thinking about it. But
and George's has her good dancing to thank for her not being lower for me. She was still number 5, but I didn't think she should have been in the top 2 at all.
Well, lovely gal. We have our runways. Category is signature look, signature fragrance. Thank you, Lana. Thank you. Ooh, now we are going to dive fully. Thank you very much. We are going to dive into our full thoughts on the looks.
Look over here.
But I was thinking it could be kind of cute, and I want to hear what y'all think about this. If we run through the runways really quick and just give like a single word to describe how we feel about each one.
I would love to say that, but y'all know we ain't gonna do that. Y'all know we don't know how to do a single word.
We're gonna keep it pushing.
We can try. Well, let's try.
We can try. We can try.
We can try.
Attempt to do it.
Or a phrase. We'll go phrase.
No, see, now we already moving. We already moving.
Okay, word.
One
Single
word.
word. Single word. Got it.
Mm-hmm. And not a word that is going to get us demonetized.
Please. First up, Gottmik. David, let's start with you, David. Why not, David?
Disappointing.
Spiky.
Mess.
Simple.
Great. I thought I was going to be the only one to hate that. Nina West.
Good.
Prison. I don't know.
Prison.
KaMorian's doing like word association, like visual, like Rorschach test.
No, but I kind of love the word association of it all, honestly. Mine is going to be confusing.
Mine is Beetlejuice.
Don't say it 3 times, Lana.
I know, I can't.
You only get one.
It would have been funny if 3 of us said that.
Right. That's mine. It's just plastique.
Groundbreaking.
Hallelujah.
Flawless.
I can't wait to talk more about this later. Angeria.
Adorable.
Amen.
Yes.
Period. Vanjie.
I'm going to break the rule and do regular season.
Ooh.
Right.
No. Huh?
Adequate.
Okay. Plastique. Not plastique. This is Georgia's.
No.
That's my word, plastique. I don't know.
No.
Straightforward.
Spicy.
Bottom. Chanel.
Pageant.
Drag.
Ugh.
Gorgeous.
And Roxy.
Bland.
Ooh. Gorge.
Tank top.
Frozen.
When they said the thing, I was like, period. That's what it gave me.
That's all I got.
Oh, I like that. And I kind of think we should do that maybe moving forward because I did like it's cute, it's quick, it gives our thoughts. I like that. So, but yes, so we do the runway. We get our critiques. I do like that we're doing the All-Star 7 thing where everybody gets critique every week. I really like that personally because and a lot of the girls talked about it, especially in I think both of the Untucks, getting that constructive criticism, having it still be nice because everyone's being nice about it. But having it be constructive criticism, I really liked. I will say, speaking of Untucked, because it would fit in right here, the only thing that I really thought was of note was Keke Palmer.
Yes. The other thing that stood out to me in Untucked was Nina. Well, they were all deciding, like, are we going to change? Are we going to change?
Right.
Nina West is like, I'm going to keep wearing the same look until I lip sync.
Yes.
And Roxy was like, I'm not going to change because the last thing I need is for America to be reading me and being like, oh my gosh, she changed. She thought she was going to be in the top 2. She's like, no, I don't think I'm going to be in the top 2. So I'm going to keep wearing what I'm wearing.
You know, fair.
I will say, I think kind of like the brightest thing is like there's actually like the first All-Stars, this All-Star one that I actually had like Untucked and an actual Untucked lounge, because the past All-Star Tucks have been in the workroom, so the first time we actually been like in an actual like
8?
No, it was in a workroom.
It was in the workroom. You're right.
Actually, last season they didn't show them like talking to like in the actual episode, like the bottom 2 cut to the top.
Yes, I remember that. No, I remember that.
Yeah, so
because All-Star 7 was also in the workroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they made that change with season 16. I didn't even notice it during season 16, if I'm honest with you.
Can I remember? Because I think ever since like Kobe happened, it's been like in the workrooms. It's kind of like let's what to do now that Kobe's.
Now they have that separate Untucked space. I'm like, thank God we have a separate Untucked space again. Like that, I love that. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, no, I didn't even realize that until you said that, KaMorian. But wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get announced our top 2 of the week. And it's our sisters from season 14, Angie and Georges, which sure.
I said to my roommate, you can tell that this season is for charity because they were giving Georges a top 2 placement out of charity.
Woo! Jesus. Woo!
They're like, she's not going to have many opportunities. We'll give it to her this week.
Oh! Woo!
Well, I mean...
Where's the lie, though?
It was a charity give because she surely did not deserve to be in the top 2 this week either.
We could all agree. I hope that Angie deserved. We all think Angie should have been in the top 2.
Yeah, yes. I think she was on the top 1.
I do.
David doesn't.
I don't. I really think Plastique should have been up there with Vanjie.
I think you need to watch it again, but I think
you need to watch it again.
I just know generally like
your straight opinion is that
your opinion is valid.
I get,
it's valid.
I see it.
My thing is Vanjie. I think Vanjie was the best in the performance, and
I think Vanjie was also the best.
And spoiler, I think Plastique was right up there, but she absolutely killed it with that runway look. So I think that was enough to push her in the top 2.
I think the reason why Vanjie wasn't in the top 2 was because
of the runway. I think Vanjie didn't make it because of the runway, and I think Angie made it because of the runway.
She did good in both
runway and performance.
In both, right?
I think it came down to like who had, like the overall performance and look. I think that's what it came to like.
But I don't know why
George in the top, but like But like for me, Angie, it came to like performance and room where she was top for both of those, which makes sense. So it was a surprise to me. But I think we're part of that. I think I'm happy for Georges too. I think it kind of shows like 2 to 14 queens were very good in their season, and just the amount of they're good girls. So, but yeah, I'm happy for both of them.
I'm fine with it. Like I'm not fundamentally disappointed at Georges getting a top placement here, especially because she did choreograph the number. So I think if that's going to be, but then similar but different things are not taken into account in episode 2, which makes me a little frustrated, but we'll talk about that later. But we have Angie and Georges lip syncing to Come On Whitney Houston episode 1. $1 Million Bill, a remix of it, but $1 Million Bill nonetheless. Now,
I mean, I love that we going into Whitney's B-roll. We ain't even going into her.
Right.
Like we going into the B-roll of Whitney.
But this is a classic drag staple. Like I've heard $1 Million Bill several many times at a drag show that I've attended, and I love it every single time. Now, I'm going to say something here to the twinks online, and I hope, I feel like I know the people here on this panel well enough to where we all will probably have the same opinion as to who won this lip sync.
Oh, definitely.
It's very clear who won.
I hope and pray that we all think that the winner was very deserved. But I'm going to speak to the twinks online real quick. If you think Georges won this lip sync, you need to rewatch it. And if you still have that opinion, go see a local drag queen.
Is that a sentiment people have online?
Yes. People actually have the opinion that Georges won this lip sync. I mean, and I don't think Georges did bad. Georges did not do bad.
Yeah, she did very good.
But when Angeria pulled out that sweat rag and said, boom, 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 I said, it's over.
Yeah, it's over. For me, I think for me, you think about it, I think, like it was like the mix was like kind of like a dance mix. The thing is, it was a Whitney song, Give Whitney. And to me, Angie went as soon as she started with her was parking and barking with the rag, everything, like she gave Whitney Houston in that song. She gave us the opinion of what the song is about.
It's about embodying. It's about embodying the song. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you can dance your butt off and flip and twist and switch and all that stuff. It doesn't matter. If you're doing all that stuff and it makes no sense to the song, then it's not going to work. And Angie literally embodied Whitney Houston on that stage. Because if you ever seen the Whitney show, and I know some people have never or won't ever get a chance to see that, go back and watch some Whitney performances on any award show that she's done when she's doing her fast numbers. Because when she's doing it, Whitney ain't out there. That ain't Whitney. They ain't never been Whitney. One time we tried to get Whitney to dance, it didn't go so well, so she stopped doing it. So she ain't doing no more. But what Whitney will do is hold that microphone. She gonna sing and she gonna sweat and she gonna take that rag out and she gonna walk across that stage and she gonna give you everything. That's when Angie said, "I'm a park and bark it," and I saw what the song was. I was like, "Oh, she finna eat this up," because baby, there is nobody who better parks and barks than a Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston, I feel like, and I know she didn't, but in my head, in my childhood, Whitney Houston invented the park and bark. Because I ain't seen nobody do it better. She gets on that stage, she stands there with conviction, she sings out her soul, she sweats till her wig curls up, and she wipes it down, and that whole moving across and looking and what Angie was doing, it was pure Whitney. And I get it. Like I said, George's was moving, and she got the goods to do the stunts, she got the goods to do all the tricks or whatever. She can do it. But when the song ain't making sense to do all that, it just looks, as what we said, David, it looks desperate. It looks desperate when you have to do all that and it's not necessary for that song. Right. Georgia did good. It just looked desperate when it was that song.
Here's my thing.
That on any other song, oh shit, ate that up.
Yeah, here's my thing about it. I think for me, Georgia can move. To me, what makes her lose a lip sync is the emotion. It's the face. It's like a very dead face, like a very like a neutral face.
She can't do songs well outside of her repertoire.
Right? Is that's exactly my point there.
Yeah.
And I said it in our entrance look video. If you've seen one George's performance, you've seen them all. So I was watching this. I'm like, there's nothing new. I've seen this performance. Like copy paste.
Well, and we've seen her perform a standard. They literally had her do Something's Got a Hold on Me on her original season. And she did a very good lip sync to that song.
But that's upbeat too.
I know. That's what I'm saying is like, I don't know why she went this route for this performance when we've seen her do something of a very similar kind of standard, and it wasn't like, I don't know. It would not surprise me if this is a song that Angeria has done on many occasions throughout her entire career. Like, she's got a couple Whitneys that she knows for sure. It may not be $1 Million Bill, but she's got a couple Whitney songs that she knows like the back of her hand. So, and of course, Angie wins the lip sync. Deserved. Deserved. And she is the first person that gets to cut someone off on this season. And she cuts off Roxy. Yeah, she I love that they're milking it. I love that they're milking it. Yeah.
This is what I was alluding to earlier. I was talking about a few of these people. They're like really winning me over. In Angeria, like I already knew I liked her personality, but it's really shining in these couple of episodes. And she's absolutely becoming one of my favorites. I think Angeria, Gottmik, and Plastique have impressed me a lot so far. And then the ones that have not impressed me so much, and I expected better, is Roxy and Vanjie overall. I'm just wanting them to do a little bit more, even though I do think they've had their highs, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think the choice to cut off Roxy here is probably the smartest move she could have made, especially being the first one. Like, who is potentially speaking the most well-rounded person on this cast? It's Roxy Andrews. And I think the only other person that is maybe more well-rounded than Roxy is Angie.
Yeah.
And so, because like, I would say Angie is the most well-rounded queen on this cast. With then, I would say probably Roxy and honestly, Gottmik.
It's not one of the most well-rounded casts we've had.
No,
like, all have their own
it's
things.
a cast where everyone is very good at what they do, and there's a couple of girls in this cast that are very, very like. If we come down to the end of the season and the top 3 of the season are Roxy, Angie, and Gottmik, I will not be surprised in the slightest, because I think those girls kind of have a little bit of everything going on, where they've got the fashion, they've got the funny, they've got the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. They've got all of it down. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. This choice from Angie makes complete sense. And I love in the next episode where she was like, oh no, I absolutely made the right choice. But yeah.
Yeah. Like, I really appreciate her really taking the risk actually doing that. It's like, she's like, in the next episode, it's like, I love you all dearly, but like, I am cutting you off for you are competition.
She made the big move.
Yeah. And Roxy accepted it. She wasn't like, girl, like, really? Like, she was like, okay.
Yeah.
As a compliment. Like, yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the standard now. And nobody's going to be scared to make the big move, because we saw this in UK versus the World when the first episode was not a big move and everybody chose not to make big moves the rest of the season. It was like, we're going to make the safe move. I want to do what's safe. And this season, I think everybody's going to be like, we got to be honest here, and let's just make the big move. Since Angie decided to set the bar that high, I think it's going to continue. And it actually definitely continued in the second round and on the next episode, because it was like, it is what it is, and we know you can be there. So I think this is just going to set the standard for the rest of the season, that they are going to make moves that are going to be big.
Yeah, and I do think it's a lot easier in this format to make those big moves, because if we're being honest, most of the time this is not going to affect anything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because you're blocking the potential to get a badge the following week, and
beautiful
usually it doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
I just love saying beautiful benefactress badge. That is that on episode 1, y'all. We will be, if you're watching this at the time that it drops, there will very shortly be the episode of Look Over Here dropping. And then if you're watching this on the day it drops tomorrow, we will have our episode 2 recap. So make sure to check out all of our All-Stars content. Subscribe, like, and share on your way out. Check out the description below for all of our YouTube links, our audio podcast links, our membership channel links, our social media links at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. All 4 of our personal social media links, and the link to get your merch, including but not limited to cup mug, aka cup holder. And with that being said, we're gonna get out of here because we got to do more Drag Race. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.